Hi, Zoe. First, I want to say thank you for being here. And just before we move forward, is Zoe the name you like to go by? Is there
Yeah, I
something
have
else you
some
prefer?
people call me Zoe, but Zoe's fun.
Okay. So before we get started here, I have your records. And just to make sure I have this correct, can you give me your date of birth?
It's October 3rd, 1999.
Okay, perfect. Um, So the primary purpose of us meeting is to, one, introduce ourselves to each other, but also come up with a treatment plan that might be helpful for you. Before we go forward, I do just want to disclose some things. I am a mandated reporter, so that means if there's allegations of abuse or neglect, I do have to report those. Um, or if you talk about wanting to hurt yourself or hurt other people, I would have to disclose those to the rest of your care team just to make sure that you're safe and other people are safe. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay, wonderful. So can you tell me who referred you to me?
Yeah, so I had an incident at work and they referred me to a like work related therapist. And so through that work related therapist, they they're not very useful. So they in turn were like, I think this is a little more than we can handle, and then they sent me over this way.
Okay. Let's back up to this work incident. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What happened?
Yeah, so I was driving with one of my coworkers. We were going to go out for lunch, and I started telling her about these individuals that have been living in my attic. I was telling her that, like, for some reason, no one else seems to see them or hear them, but I've seen them numerous times, and every time I move somewhere, they always move in behind me and they either go in the attic or basement, whichever house we've done. And I mean, we've moved from state to state. So this is a situation that has just kept following me. I've reached out to law enforcement. I've reached out to other individuals, just to let them know, like, these people are dangerous and I want them out of my house. And so when I was telling my coworker this at work, she told me that our supervisor had a law enforcement friend, and that friend would be willing to come and talk to me and take a report and come and try to help my situation. So we did that. And when the law enforcement officer came out, he wrote in his report that there was no one there. But I mean, they're there. I don't know why everyone else isn't seeing them, but no one else seems to see them or hear them or be affected by them.
Okay. And was that incident was reported back to your boss, and that's why you had to go to the work therapy?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that does sound frustrating. Now I noticed you said this has followed you from state to state. Do you
Mhm.
remember do you remember when you started noticing these people living in your attic or your basement?
Yeah, it's probably been about 6-ish years ago, maybe going on 6. I had lived in Texas at one point. I had also lived in Arizona at one point. And no matter what state we go to, no matter what house we're in, they always find a way to follow me and figure out where I'm going.
Okay. And are you moving because you're trying to get away from these people?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. And how does your you mentioned we like you have some family you're moving with. What have your family members expressed?
So it's my boyfriend that lives with me. I tell him about it, but he just always says, like, go back to bed, or, no, there's no one up there. Um, he doesn't seem very supportive over me being fearful of this. I mean, he willingly moves every time that it gets bad again, but he also doesn't seem to believe me.
And that I imagine that that's probably hurtful, um, and a little frustrating that someone can't understand the problem that you're having.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, have you ever felt like you were in danger from these people or scared? I know you said you wanted police to know that these people were there,
Mhm.
but was that because you were scared or you felt like they might hurt you or someone else?
Yeah, I think sometimes they like sneak and take pictures of me, and I don't know what they're doing with those pictures. Like, I don't. I don't know if they're just trying to sell them or if they're I don't know what they do with them, and I'm fearful that that's what they're doing and that they're somehow trying to traffic me or do something else harmful to me.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that would be very concerning. Have you ever, as a result of this, have you ever felt like suicidal or maybe like hurting someone else?
No, I don't think I've ever gotten to the point of feeling like I want to hurt myself or hurt someone else. It's just scary. I do feel like my boyfriend kind of helps it a little being in the home with him. He's kind of like my protector, even though he doesn't believe me.
Yeah, well, it's good that he gives you some relief just by his presence.
Yeah.
Prior to this, I know you mentioned you've been seeing these individuals for about 6 years. Have you ever seen a psychiatrist or a therapist prior to meeting with me and your work therapist?
So I was hospitalized at one point. Whenever I was in one of the other states, I believe it was Texas, I had made a report to law enforcement, and at that point, they told me that they were gonna send me to the hospital for an evaluation because they couldn't find anything. So I was hospitalized, and then at that point, I had received some outpatient treatment after being released from the hospital, but it has taken me a long time to want to speak up again, and so since then, I haven't had any type of intervention, just out of fear
Okay,
like people think I'm crazy or
did that outpatient treatment, did that involve any sort of medication or was it primarily counseling?
no, it involved medication. I can't remember what it was. And I think it probably helped a little bit, but once I moved, I stopped taking the medication, and obviously they were still following.
Okay. Did you notice any difference when you were taking the medication? Did you see those individuals as often or hear them as
No, I didn't see them
often?
as often. And I didn't feel quite as scared either. Like I felt like I was a little bit more in control and like they couldn't hurt me, but and I didn't see them nearly as often as I am still now.
Okay, okay. So, n- now I know you mentioned your boyfriend moves with you, he lives with you. Has anyone in your family, your immediate family, ever been diagnosed with any sort of psychiatric disorder or mental illness?
So my mom used to talk about having I guess when I was a kid, she used to talk about like being able to see our dead relatives, like my grandmother and some of my uncles. But my family didn't really believe in mental health, and so no, I don't know that anyone ever got any diagnoses or anything like that.
Okay. Do you, okay, that's now I also wanted to ask a little bit about substance use, and that includes alcohol, things that are legal or illegal. Are you taking anything to sort of self-medicate, like drinking or any other sort of substance?
No, I'm not using any substances, not even alcohol. I think it tastes weird.
Okay. Okay. Now I know with all of your moving, has it been difficult for you to maintain a social life, a good circle of friends, or
Yeah,
how is that? How is that
it's been pretty
for you?
hard. Actually, with the work related incident, that was the first person that I had probably told in a few years after my hospitalization. I didn't feel comfortable telling other people because I didn't want them to be like, don't talk to her. So I felt like me and this coworker had been building a pretty good relationship, and then I told her about what had been going on, and since then all of this has happened, and again, people just think I'm seeing things or like this stuff isn't real, and it feels very real to me. So I don't have a lot of people that I associate with. It's mostly just me and my boyfriend.
Okay, so it sounds like you haven't had the most supportive environments when you've, you know, told people about what you're dealing with
Right.
at work or at home.
Right.
Okay. Do you have any other, do you have any other medical issues that you've ever been diagnosed with?
I one time was riding a horse and I fell and got a concussion, but that was short-lived. It was healed within the week, is what the doctor said. So other than that, no.
Okay, when did you get this concussion?
Oh goodness, I think I was like a junior or senior in high school.
Okay. Okay, so this was so you got this concussion a couple of years before you started seeing these individuals?
Yeah, I think it was just a few years before.
Okay. And I just wanted to ask, did your work therapist also refer you to a psychiatrist or did they only refer you to counseling?
So they just referred me to counseling to begin with.
Okay.
And then
I
they said
understand.
that if they felt I needed a psychiatrist, that you all would be able to make that referral.
Okay. You know what? That makes perfect sense. And I do appreciate you opening up to me because I can tell that in the past when you've opened up, um, people's responses have been hurtful.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like you are showing some signs of schizophrenia, but I don't want to move forward with that diagnosis yet, until we've had a few more chances to get to know each other. Um, Now, what I'm recommending is it's called the assertive community treatment, commonly referred to as ACT. And what I like about it is that it's team directed, community based, and it's a multidisciplinary team. So it wouldn't just be me, it would be your caseworker, um, likely a psychiatrist because medicine can help to an extent. I'm not gonna go into that. I'll leave that to the psychiatrist. But in
Mhm.
conjunction with counseling, we've seen some pretty favorable results, and we definitely want to help you um, feel more comfortable. And the good thing about this is we can also sort of help you build a more supportive network and find resources for other people who are dealing with the same issues. Because support when you're going through something like this, as you've seen, is critical. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah, we've found that a supportive environment usually plays a huge part in determining individuals' outcomes. So uh, you know, whether or not that means getting your boyfriend involved so he can understand exactly what you're facing and learn how to also help you move forward. We're happy to do all of that. So I think going forward here, if it's agreeable to you, we'll make another appointment
Okay.
to meet in the near future, and I will reach out to some specialists and some individuals just so we can sort of start getting a team together, and then next time we meet, we can go over what those next steps would be moving forward and whether or not you're comfortable with the steps that we come up with. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, I think it's a little it makes me a little nervous just knowing there's going to be a lot more people that are going to be involved, just because I've had such bad experience with people hearing what I'm going through. But I think like our interactions here made me feel really heard so far, and so I'm willing to move forward in that process to try and see what comes of it.
I appreciate that, and I definitely understand your hesitance and exposing yourself again like that and being vulnerable. But I just want to reassure you that everyone on our team is going to be there to be supportive, because we do want the best outcome for you and for your family. And if at any point you ever feel like you have a question or you ever feel uncomfortable with something or anything at all, don't hesitate to bring that up because you are in charge here and we're here to help you reach your full potential, okay?
Thank you.
Right. Well, I will talk with you. Sure. I'll talk with you in the near future, Zoe, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye.